Right. Let's keep it. Perfect. Great. So we'll just bow in and then we'll do a warm up. Okay, great. Onegaishimasu. So we'll just start loosening off the body, just shoulder width apart, just working the vertical line, just raising the body. And the key thing, just letting the weight relax down into the ground. Starting the heels sink, keeping the knees relaxed. Relax. And then just work a front and back directions, just swinging the body gently to the back, working the toes as well. Right, and then we're going to go side to side. Okay. Body, again, just keeping the arms relaxed and kind of drag the body down. In this case, really playing with swinging the weight from one leg to the other. The body stay relaxed on the top. And just let the weight sink down to one leg. Same time, think about opening out this kind of all this area of the ribs, this kind of band around the body. Playing with mobilizing that area a little bit. Perfect. And then we're going to a little bit of rotation work. So just working from the hip, keeping the arms loose, just let them wrap around the body, keeping the knees relaxed. And then the next one is working with closing the body at the bottom and then open at the top. Just kind of close to the front. Open out. And just let the arms kind of follow the movement. And really work in this case the kind of pelvis, opening, closing down. And you've got this idea of opening and closing. You can also think about using it as the pattern as a kind of wave from the tailbone to the top of the spine, waving in and out of the motion of the movement. And then the next one, you're just going to let the whole body kind of spiral down into the ground. You can just let the arms follow the movement. You're working out like a kind of corkscrew down and back up. You take your time with it. I'm trying to keep the upper body light, relaxed, and the lower body nice and heavy. And spiral in and out of the ground. Right, and then we'll just start at the ankles, just placing the weight into one side, rolling the ankle out, both directions. Gently folding the toes over. And rolling. Right, lifting the foot off the ground, working in circles both ways. Right, and straightening all the way through to the toes. Right, and then changing the side, working the ankle. Keep both directions. Bending the toes over gently. Raising off the ground, working in circles. Both ways. And straighten all the way through to the toes. Great. Okay, placing the toes to the feet together and just working the knees forwards and backwards. Keep a little bit of bend in the knee all the time, even at the back. Right, and I'm working in circles, nice and easy. Changing the direction, the circles. Stepping out a little bit deeper, dropping the hips into the center. Relax down into a little bit of a bounce. Great. Walking out the feet a little bit wider, and then just open out the hips side to side. Just holding on one side. Changing the side. Rocking down to one side, bringing the toes up on the calf stretch side. Great, changing sides. Great. And then keeping the hands down, bringing both feet back, lifting back a little bit with the hips, as if you're kind of pulling the hips and the heels apart. Pressing down with the heel, lifting up with the hip. And then gently from here, just swinging over, reaching for the ankle. Both sides. Great, and then bringing the arms back into the center, walking the hands out just until you're in the fingertip. And then think about just releasing into the shoulders and create a line between the fingertips and the hips. Just think about the hands pressing down, the hips pulling away. Lengthen the whole spine. Keep the pressure in the feet. Great. And then just walking the hands back just to the level with the shoulders. Yeah. And then on one side, you're going to raise up, lift up to the ceiling, and just look towards the hand that's pointed. Right, slowly releasing it down, changing the side. Great. One more time, placing the hand down, reaching up. And on the other side, placing the hand, reaching up to the top. Great. Okay, placing both hands down and walking the feet back together. Bring the hands and feet together. Now just think about pressing the palms down to the ground, releasing the head. And as much as you need to release the knees, do it. Let the head really relax at the bottom. Bringing the hands onto the ankles and then slowly raising back up to the top. And up through the spine. Great. And then just taking one leg in front, as if the feet are on train tracks, and then you just want to press out the back heel. Yeah. And then just to increase it, think about bringing the body forward a little bit towards the front knee. Front leg. Releasing it, changing the leg. Just press the heel down. Shift the weight forward gently. Perfect. Great. Changing the leg again, coming down the knee. Just going to rock forward into the hip and then draw it back. Straighten the leg. Rock forward, draw back. Great. And then this one, put the opposite hand down. Again, you're going to windmill up the arm, reach to the top of the ceiling. Open up the hip. Perfect. Great. And then changing the leg. Just start by rocking into the hip. Good. And this one, bringing the opposite hand down, reaching up. Perfect. Okay, bringing the hands down, feet back, raise up, and then just think about treading through the heels at the back. Just opening up the legs. Perfect. And then again, just bringing the feet and the hands together, and just come back up to the top. Great. Okay, we'll just go to the hips. Just want to make big circles. Rolling the hips around. Great, changing direction. Make sure the hands out in front, twisting. And then bringing the hands up to the top, same thing, just twisting through. Perfect. Great, back to the center. Just take it to the shoulders. And make nice big circles, including the chest, shoulder blades. And then changing it, shoulders going forwards. Great. Big circles out with one side. Good, changing direction. Good, changing the arm. And changing direction. Good, just taking them across the body, out to the sides. And then circling both sides in front. And changing direction. Good, great. Just taking the arm lightly across the body, stretching out to the sides. Perfect. Changing the arm. Great. Taking the arm up over the head, hand onto the back. Tricep. Gentle weight down. Good, changing the arm. Great. Okay, linking the fingers at the back and stretching it through the shoulder blades. Great. Taking the forearm, just gently drawn across the back. And changing the arm. Lastly, just the head, reaching at the top, and tucking the chin to the chest. Great, going left and right, looking over the shoulder. And then taking the ear to the shoulder. Great. Lastly, just taking the hand on the opposite side of the head. Put the weight of the hand, draw the neck open. And gently think about looking up towards the ceiling. Just think about activating the front. Right, slowly bring the head back. Take the weight off, changing sides. Try and keep the opposite shoulder relaxed as well. Gently just rotating the head up, looking towards the ceiling. Just switching the structure. Great. Slowly coming back, taking the hands onto the back of the head. And then just think about lengthening through the neck, pushing the chin back a little bit and pressing into the hands. At the same time, think of the hands pushing forward a little bit. Great, and then let this go, let the hands just drop the head down towards the chest. Curl all the way. Think in this case about bringing the elbows together. And then again, opening out to the top. Once you get to the top, think a little bit about pushing forward with the hands, pushing back with the head. And then from here, just gently, a little bit, lifting the chest up, look towards the ceiling, pull the elbows back a little bit. And then release it again to the front, drop the head to the chest. And release it. Okay, great. So the next thing we'll do some swings, so the kind of body weight swings, and the idea of them is really to get this kind of heaviness in the body. So that this is kind of the first step in terms of martial arts, is to get this kind of relaxed. And the key thing is this sense of heaviness. So I don't want it to just be loose. I want to be kind of heavy in the limbs. So the first one's just a vertical swing. You just want to, again, shoulder width apart. You're just going to raise the arms up over the head, lengthen through the spine, and then just think about dropping the weight down, swinging the arms down, as if you're kind of throwing a ball into the ground in front of you. Just let it kind of swing through and then draw up. And the first thing to focus on here is just the weight dropping down in the swing. Down. Down. And again, try and keep the arms heavy and relaxed. So you want them to kind of feel like heavy ropes kind of just swinging off the shoulder. Perfect. Great, keep going. Good. Nice, very nice. Good. That's nice. Very good. Great. Now in this one, a little bit more active with it. Again, if you imagine kind of throwing a ball from the back, think about just bringing the arms to the back a little bit more here. Keeping the elbows pointing to the front, so not kind of opening out to this side. Keep them at the front. And then you're gonna swing down, drop the weight in, and just let the body sink into this position. To kind of hold this active position, or settle into it basically. Let the body just relax down. And then from here, focus on the ground and swinging the arms up from the pressure in the feet. So you've got that position. Press into the feet, raise the arms up. So from here, and then just press down, let the body relax in, and then swing it up. Draining down, and then from the feet, swinging up. So the weight enters the legs, and then you press that connection up to get the hands up. So, perfect. Nice, yeah, perfect. Great. Great. Okay, we'll go to the next one, which is a side-to-side movement. So just want the arms spread out with the feeling like they're kind of sitting down. So not so much I'm kind of spreading them and holding them, just that they're kind of relaxing down to the center. And then from here, you're just going to let them swing across the body this way and swing across the body. And again, this one you want to focus on basically get that same motion down and just releasing the shoulder out to the side. So you just let them cross over, cross over, cross over. And that same feeling in the legs, as if you want the legs to be like a pump, kind of entering into the ground and then pressing out. It's a little bit like a bird flapping kind of movement. But the key thing is how you're relating the weight to the ground. And then releasing all the tension in the body. Just let everything release as much as you can. And again, trying to generate a feeling of heaviness in the limbs. That's it, perfect. Yeah, great, good, perfect. Okay, now this one is about getting the hips in control of the hand. So what you're going to do now is leave one arm out, leave one arm kind of resting, and then you want to use the hip to take the hand one way to the shoulder and then release it out to the back. So you're just going to play with one arm, keep that hand out, and just play with this arm, basically go to the shoulder, go to the back hip, shoulder, hip, shoulder, hip, shoulder, hip, shoulder, hip. So now the movement, you're going to slightly adjust the hip so the hip's going to kind of swing it in. You want it to catch the movement of the hand. Shoulder, hip. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, great. Yeah, so one thing that will tend to happen now is that the hips start to do that kind of movement. Try and get the feeling in this case that you're kind of screwing the hips down. So as you do this one, let the weight stay in the center between the feet and let the hips basically open and close. So the hips doing that. And that same kind of thing with the arm. That's it. Perfect. And just try it with both sides. You can leave that arm out, or you can just drop it down if it's kind of getting in the way. You just want to feel that the hip and the hand starting to connect. That's it. And again, my weight's kind of dropping into the center and allowing the hip to open and close. That's it, perfect. That's it. Great. Okay, great. And then we're going to put them both together. So you go back to this position. One hand finds the shoulders, the other finds the hip, finds the back hip. So shoulder, shoulder on one arm, and hip on the other. In that same motion now, but trying to bring both sides of the body together. And again, trying to maintain the center in the base between the feet. And once you've got the coordination forward, think again about heaviness, dropping the center down all the time. You feel all the weight just kind of hanging down to the ground. The main thing with this one is also really important for martial arts as well, and especially Aikido when we're doing weapon work, is the idea of the weight always draining down. So especially when you're doing a movement like a raising of the arms, or kind of in this case like a swinging out, I want at the same time of the feeling to drop down into the ground. So just play also with this one, this feeling here, and then just release the arms down. So it should feel like the weight's constantly kind of drained down. So you can also play with this, if you're comfortable with it, play with the arms at the side of the body. And again, just that feeling of just kind of swinging the arm out. But I want to feel all the time again that the weight's basically drained down into the ground. And especially as that hand reaches the shoulder, I don't want the body to kind of be pulled out of the ground. So you want to kind of sink and just get that kind of heaviness. Yeah. You've got that exercise a little bit more fluid. That's it. Yeah, great. Good. Okay, and then we'll work on a swing, which is a little bit more active now. So again, you've got shoulder width apart. You're going to slightly in this one, just incline the body a little bit more, so you're a little bit more active. And then here, you're just going to start to swing the arms front and back. So a little bit more active. You're going to come in hips back a little bit, dropping the weight forward, and then just let the arms swing. First, just focus on the kind of forward direction. So just releasing the arms. And then start to think as you reach one arm forward, you're also reaching the other back. So this is really opening out the shoulders, front and back. Again, keeping the weight draining down all the time. And then you're just going to increase the movement of the arms, and you're going to bring the body back to a vertical position. At the same time, bring the arms up to just to the top of the head, and then release it, release it, release it. Oh, I lost it. There we go. There. To the top, to the top, to the top. That's it. Great. Now the key with this one, especially when you raise the arms up, really feel that the elbow's heavy. So as it comes down, the elbow's kind of dropping in. It's as if the elbow's all weight down. So raising the top, keep the elbows heavy. Drop it down. Drop it down. Perfect. That's it. Great. That's good. Great. And then what you're going to do is make a full circle with the arms. So if you get lost with this one, just come back to this one, because it's pretty much the same exercise. Just increases the motion, but you're going to come to the top of the head now and rotate through it. So one arm's basically going to be going this way, forward. At the same time, the other arm's going to be going in the opposite direction. So you're splitting the arms front and back. You can try to keep that heaviness. And if you lose it, just go back to this. Take it up to the top. If you can, switch it into a circle. That's it. Great. Okay, take your bokken or stick or key stick. So you will do a really very simple way. Okay, so in this case, we use a kind of replica of the Japanese sword. You're going to have the left hand at the bottom of the sword, or near enough where where your grip is. So the left hand at the bottom, and you want the right hand just about a fist, a hand's width up from that. So you just want to feel that it's kind of come through. You've got the weights in the back. These kind of bokkens, or these kind of sticks are kind of loaded. The weight's kind of in the front. So you've got basically the weight at the back of the sword loaded, or the weight in the front loaded in the back of the grip. So in this case, we won't worry about the feet first. Just get that grip. And again, we'll go to these kind of similar swings. So you're just going to go shoulder width apart. And the main movement you've got with the sword is obviously like a cutting motion. So you're just going to now get that grip, keep it nice and relaxed. It's not too rigid, not too heavy. And you just want to go shoulder width apart. And very similar to this first swing we did, you're going to raise up now, bring the stick to the back as much as you can. And then you're just going to drop down with the cut. So you just swing and you want to be relaxed as possible. Draw up to the spine, drop it in. Up to the spine, drop it in. Just feel the weight of it as it comes over. And you're just trying to align that drop of the sword also with the body. So imagine just let gravity basically drop the stick through, and then you just join it with the movement of the body now. So basically using the weapons as a extra kind of pressure on the body, kind of keep the body relaxed. Trying to unify the body. Everything moves together. Okay, great. So the focus on this is also, you want to be kind of functional and effective with it, and as relaxed as possible. But what I want you to think about in this case is the back of the body. So when you bring the stick to the back, think about linking the back of the head and the tailbone. And I want you to keep that length as you go through. So only drop down now into the cut as much as you can basically keep that length through the body. So what I don't happen in this case is something like this, where the body kind of splits out at the top. So just drop gently into the ground, bend in, releasing the knees. And you don't want to stay upright with the body. So it's not about keeping a vertical length through the body, but it's just keeping that sense of length through the spine. And you're just going to let the hip fold gently and drop in. But just watch, in this case, you don't want to go too far this way. So just drop the weight in. And the idea of this is that the center is basically dropping in between the feet. And so the weight of the body in the center line, drop in, you do it. And keep that length. So raising up a little bit through the head. That's it. That's it, perfect. Go ahead. So, very good. So we're going to do the same thing now, but bringing the feet into it. So when we do this, generally you're going to have the right foot forward with this. So all the ones we'll do today will be the right foot forward. And the stance you want is a relaxed stance. Yeah. You want the back foot out about, not 90 degrees, about 40, something like that. So it's kind of pointing into this direction. The front foot, you want it just to meet right in the center of the back foot. Like it cuts the leg in two, cuts the foot in two. And then from here, you just want a natural step forward. So just a natural kind of walking step. And the key thing is that the knees can relax and open. So I don't want either leg kind of lock, just want to relax down into it. And then from here, you just want bring the sword in front, bring the weapon in front. And again, you've got the left hand on the bottom, right hand on top. You just want to feel, again, it's connected. And the connection in this case is as if you think about the belly button and the end of the sword is basically forming one line. Yeah, that's it, great. And the key with this, especially for Aikido, is that we're working with a wedged triangular stance. So I don't want the hips to be square on like that. You want the front hip to be kind of wedging forward, in this case, the right hip. Okay, great. And then from that, you can do the same motion. As you reach the sword to the back, or reach the weapon to the back, you're going to bring that foot to meet against the top. So you basically make it like a column of the body. And then as you drop in, bring that foot forward, drop the sword in again. So we just do like, go to the back, drop the cut in. Go to the back, drop the cut in. So you're just practicing now that, again, just entering into the right side stance. Weight shifts to the back leg, and then weight shifts 50-50. Shift to the back, and then drop in 50-50. Set. Good. And then the same point before, you want to keep the length in the spine, but I also want to keep the body balanced. So the tricky part of this is you've got the weight of the weapon kind of arcing away from the body, and the tendency of the upper body is to follow it and basically split out from the lower body. So try and feel that you're connecting the whole line of the body from the heel all the way up to the top of the head. And as you come in, think about keeping that length through the body. So you're letting the hip go, and the body's kind of breaking the vertical line this way, but I don't want to let the upper body split out from the lower. So again, just play with dropping the weight in, keeping that length through the spine. Drop the weight in, feel the length right up through the top of the head, and at the same time, you want your weight to be entering the ground. So you're doing two things: weight raising, sinking down, and the spine's gently extending upwards. So. Good. And now the weapons basically challenge your ability to find balance in the structure and ground the movement. Perfect. Okay, great. We'll go to the next step, and this is just about placing the sword. So where we would make the cut is about this area. So about parallel with the ground, horizontal with the sword. So you just want to practice now going from this position, again reaching the back, and then just drawing the sword into this position. So you're just finishing level with the ground, no power in it, just placing it forward. Into the back, place it forward. That's it. And you want to basically create a line between, this is tricky if you've got a slightly different weapon, but you want the hands and the tip of the sword to basically level. So you've got a kind of one line. So that's it. And again, just feel the weight of the body where the balance is. You want the weight in the as you place the sword to be 50-50 between the feet. Again, you want to be nice, relaxed, but at the same time engaging into the cut forwards. That's nice. Good. Great. Right. So we'll just go a little bit to the grip and the idea of basically grounding the cut. So what you're going to do later is basically add a little bit of power into it. So the idea is that you're adding a kind of percussive strike out the end of the sword. So you've got that coming together. I just want you to think about the grip now. So as you go left and right side, just go to the right side because it's easy to show. You want to basically take a grip that's on top of the sword and then just slightly wedge it in the grip so that it's just kind of going into a diagonal. Now, what you want to do is the little finger and the ring finger, they want to squeeze tight on the sword. This is just for the cut, but I want basically all the time the grip to be stronger in the back of the hand than the front. So just play here just with squeezing the back two fingers and just the idea that you can release the front two fingers. And that's going to be on both hands, but just work the right side first. So you want the sword to be basically this web of the hand to basically sitting on top of the sword. And what this promotes is the idea that I can also raise the sword from below. So I don't want to be on top of it like this, and I don't want to be below it like this. I just want to be in a kind of wedged position with the hand and just play with that idea of control. So this initially feels like a weaker grip because we tend to be kind of front dominant and strong in this position. But this grip, I just want you to also feel that it's kind of linking into the back of the body. So it links to the underside of the arm and into the back structure in the body, rather than the front of the grip, which links onto this structure, which is strong but not as strong. So just play with that. And then once you got in the right, just think about the same on the left side. So you want that same grip, the little finger and the ring finger, basically squeezing tighter than the front two fingers. So the front two fingers are a little bit more relaxed. So, and then once you feel you got in the left, just play with them both together. It's kind of opening and closing. So I want the ability, this grip also gives me, is to be able to release the fingers in the grip, but keep the contact and keep the weapon basically controlled. So I don't need to have all the time a kind of like a death grip on the weapon. I can basically release it and it's just going to kind of catch into the back of the hands. So you've got then the ability to flexibly move the sword. That's it. Perfect. And then just play with here, just raising the sword up gently, as light as you can with the hands, without kind of losing control of the sword. And then every so often, just play with bringing the sword into that position and gently kind of squeezing the grip on. So you're just going to kind of whoomp, whoomp with the hands. And just, you want both to go together at the same time. So you're going to kind of release. You just want to catch the sword up and down. And then just feel that you're kind of catching in the grip, bringing them together. That's it. So it's a little bit of a squeeze, but mainly it's this idea of grounding the cut and bringing the hands into focus together. That's it. Yeah, great. Nice. Now, at the same time, it's not just a movement of the hand. So what I want to think now is that as you do this, you're going to slightly drop the center in. So the same idea we did with these swings, drop the center in at the same time as you bring the hands in. So you're going to release now, play with going back to this original position, basically releasing the foot, dropping the sword up. And then from this position, the hips are quite high. You're going to now sink the hips into the cut. And as you do it, press into the hands. So as you drop the hip, find the cut. It's now about just grounding the cut. So you're settling the hip, focusing through the hands. Settling the hip, focusing the hands. Good. Nice, perfect. Good. Very good. Okay, perfect. Just focus now on the oh, I can't think of the word. You don't go too high with the sword, so I don't want to finish the sword up in this position. I want to drop the sword in, but obviously I don't want to go too low with it and get into this position. So the distance is around, it's different for everyone, but it's generally around your belly button, that kind of height. And it basically wants to be just above the hip, but not too high and not too stretched out with the arm. So generally it's about the belly button, that kind of distance. But the key thing is going to turn the weight drain down through that cut. That's it. Right. Nice. Very good. Nice. Okay, great. We're just going to make one more leg movement now with this. So you're going to be in the right side. You're going to do one step back and raise the sword, and then you're going to one step forward and cut. So from this position, let's show the form. You take a step back. At the same time, you're going to raise the sword up to about 45 degrees above the head. The left foot forward, right foot back. And then from here, you're going to step forward with the right foot and find the cut. You're doing the same motion, but you're just now taking a step back, raising up to the top, not to the spine in this case, just to the top of the head. And then from here, release the foot forward, cutting on the right side. And each time you just want to reset, find the position here. You step back, raise, step forward, cut. And then come back to neutral. Step back, raise, step forward, cut. Back, raise, forward, cut. Give it a try. Great. Now, this is also a kind of hip exercise, or really works the hip. So what I want you to think in this one, just have the bokken out in front of you, or just the stick in front. What I want you to think in this, you can step in a way where the hips stay like locked this way, or you can step in a way where I basically open and close the hip. So think about here with the hands just out. Think about that front hip now rolling, opening to the back, closing out. So in terms of the body weight, the body's here and the hips are able to kind of flex and open. So you're here, you want to think about rolling through the hip, and then here the same thing, rolling and opening the hips out. So the key with this, the ability for the hips to flex, is that I want to be able to ground one leg down. So one hip and leg is going to ground, and the other hip is going to be flexible and move through it. And I want, again, all the time the weight to be draining down. And in this case, you're shifting it one leg and then to the other. And the key to this is that sense of starting with a balanced position. So I want the weight to be dropped 50-50. And then I choose the left leg, drop the weight in, lift back, and then choose, drop it this way. Just focus on the hip work. That's it. That's it. Good. Nice. Perfect. And then bring in the arms and the sword back into it. So now keep that movement of the hips. You feel that the hips are flexible in this position. And then as you go, raise the sword up. At the same time, the sword's going to track down the center line of the body. So as you raise up now, keep the idea that your energy is focusing forward and your eyes, your center line are basically focusing forward in. And then as you go in, cut along that center line. And just each time around this, come back to a neutral position. So you step, raise, enter, cut, and drop back into a stance, into a neutral. 2. So. Great. Just go back briefly, just to the side of swinging through with the cut. So the idea with this is that you're taking the body from one point to another point, and in the front movement, you want to drop the weight into the ground. So just play that from it. This is a nice position to do it from because the sword's at the top. You want to angle on the sword at the top of the movement. And then from here, think about stepping in, dropping the weight down through the cut. So just release the cut and let the body kind of press into the ground as you do it. So you're really playing with transferring weight, but it's going to come from the body, from the whole body dropping in. What I don't want to do is basically push out the sword and basically do something like that. I'm kind of pushing the sword out and trying to add power. But you're basically just aligning the movement, the weight to the ground, down. So you want the whole weight of the body, boom, just to enter through the sword. So just play with a few, just releasing the cut. And feel again, the weight enters the ground. That same sense of, or that same feeling of heaviness from these kind of swinging movements we did right at the beginning. This is the main thing to look for first, heaviness. Yeah, good. Good. Very nice. Okay, great. So we'll just take this to one cut, to a really simple cut. And in a way, the simple ones are usually the hardest ones. So we're going to go back to this idea that we had before, kind of rolling to this position and then cutting in. But all you can do with the feet now is just step in with the feet. So rather than bring the feet back, you're just going to step in this way with the cut. And at the same time, you're going to raise the sword, cut in. So it's just a nice, short step in, just one step, one cut. And it's just a shuffle forward with the right leg and a cut down. So back, and then the whole body goes together, in, cut in. Back, whole body together, cutting in. It's a bit more of a shorter movement now. Again, a little bit simpler, or a lot simpler. But you want the whole body to go together. Nice. Great. So we use this movement later when we work with partner work in real life as an attack. So what I want you to think about here is really starting from a very neutral position. So this is basically my guard position where I'd kind of launch an attack from in the easiest way. So feel that you've got that position, and then I want you to think about the decision to attack and the movement. So I think attack, go. So the movement, the thought to attack and the movement itself come together. So what you're looking to do is basically chain your intention to the movement now. So you're looking for, I have a feeling to attack, and try and link it to the movement. So you're looking for a really calm position that gives you the ability to just move into the attack. And it doesn't have to be aggressive at all, but the attack, the thing it needs to be is really coordinated with the idea to launch the attack. Let's start from neutral, calm, and then go. And I feel like a kind of cat about to pounce. And then vroom, just go. Yeah, good. That's it. Nice, nice, nice. Great. Now, this is an exercise just basically about making contact. So just the last minute, just drop the sword away. We're going to just look at the same idea. You can use anything in the room. You can use walls or objects or something. I'm not really going around with it, I can demonstrate with. But you're going to just look for the same idea. Look for a relaxed body. The arms are dropped down. The weight's equal in the feet. And then just think about dropping forward and touching an object. It can be a wall. It can be imaginary. You don't have to touch anything with it. But just think about dropping the weight down. And then as you go to move, think about just making contact. And you're going to do it with the whole body, obviously. So you can do this right side, left side, doesn't actually matter, but feel that you go neutral. And then I want to keep that alignment in the body, but also engage the body forward and make contact. And you can do it with anything really. It can be a wall, but I just want that feeling the whole body goes and makes contact. That's it. Now just feel, especially if you're doing this with a wall, I'm going to try and do it with the edge of the screen. Just notice whether the body's kind of leaning into it. So if you imagine once you've got that contact, if you were to take it away, you don't want the body to kind of fall into it. So try and find a position where you're engaged forward. There's pressure in the hand, but I'm actually balanced in, so that if you were to take the contact away, the body would just go boom down into the ground. So this is like contact. I want to be, and I also want to be really grounded. So that ability to ground the body is what we're really looking for first. So establish contact, get weight and pressure into the hand, but at the same time, weight's falling down to the feet. And that later gives you the ability to move and interact, but keep the ground basically in the balance. That's perfect. Yeah, right. That's it. Good. Great, perfect. So the main thing we're kind of training, and especially in the first steps, are basically principles that we're training. Are basically three that I work with, which is relaxing the body and grounding the structure, and then this idea of balance, so whether I'm kind of loading the body front and back, and I'm basically trying to find the center of the body all the time. So these are the three which kind of are necessary really to go anywhere, and they never really disappear. You just try and go deeper and deeper into them. So basically relaxing the structure, getting heavy, settling the structure, finding the ground, and then balancing the structure so that it's reasonably centered, and I can use it in movement. Okay. All right, great. We'll bow out. If you've got any questions, let me know. So we'll bow out now. Right. Domo arigato gozaimasu. Japanese.